Just how relevant are the writings of a 2,000-year-old Roman emperor to the troubles and tribulations that we have in the modern world of the 21st century? Turns out a lot more than you think. Today we're exploring that in Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Let's see what it's all about. So you've heard me waffle on about Stoic philosophy a few times before on this channel, and today we're taking it right back to the era in which it actually sprang into Rome and ancient Greece. So this is the kind of book that, along with something like The Art of War by Sun Tzu, I guess a lot of people would only really think that it's got any relevance in terms of kind of maybe military history and strategic thought and things like that. But a lot of what Marcus writes about here is, it's kind of how to live, his thoughts on how to live a good life and how you can become a much more stable person through practicing the Stoic philosophy. And I must admit, I was very apprehensive about this, that it would be kind of like it would get kind of lost in translation and it wouldn't translate particularly well for the modern age and all of the trouble that we have today. And I was extremely pleasantly surprised, to be quite honest. Yeah, there is a lot to take away in this, and it's a very, I can say, like it's a dense book, but as you can see, it's quite a small one. It's a great little kind of something that you might want to chuck in your luggage and have for a plane ride or a long bus trip or something like that. Because you could quite easily digest the whole thing over a couple of hours, or maybe say 4. I think that the audio book that I listened to, that particular version, wasn't much longer than about 4 hours. So yeah, it is something that you can really get stuck into on a quiet, lazy afternoon. There's a lot of similarities in the things that Jordan Peterson talks about in here, to be quite honest. Essentially, one of the main things that he speaks about there is if you're kind of got no real aim or purpose in your life, then you're gonna feel quite miserable, and that it's only through dedicating your life to something do you really have a sense of purpose and will feel complete. So one of the things he talks about is mindfulness, and its modern interpretation is kind of like a form of present meditation, but not really the kind of sitting down going type of meditation that everybody kind of thinks of, which is, it's a bit of a caricature, to be quite honest. Essentially, mindfulness is the practice of just being extremely present and engaged with whatever is in front of you. And its form of meditation revolves around listening to your own breath. I mean, you can do it in a sitting pose if you'd like, but essentially it's just being really focused on what is immediately in front of you in your life. And it's something that we do all really struggle with in the modern life. I mean, you've got any given moment, we could be ingesting something on the TV, you've got something like we're scrolling through Facebook, you're trying to be present for your children and all of the chores of the modern household. And it's a situation, and I don't know where the saying comes from, but it's something that I've been using with my children a lot, and it's that you can do one thing well or 3 things poorly. Yeah, it's something that I'm trying to do more of in my life, just to be completely and 100% engaged with what I'm actually doing. So one of the things that really resonated with me in meditations is the whole concept of, if you are truly discontented with something, be specific with it, name it, write it down, and make that a present focus in your life to fix this particular problem. There's all these quirky little sayings in this book that I'm not sure if they're... I don't know, it's written in a very kind of poetic kind of way that people don't really speak like that anymore, and it's kind of a pity, because some of these things, they kind of, I don't know, they resonate more when they're spoken about in a kind of poetic manner. And in this social media soundbite age, I really think that this is something that we're truly missing. Having the attitude of looking at the world as it truly is, as opposed to how you would like it to be. It's kind of, it's a form of cognitive dissonance, really, when you've got kind of this information feed coming in from the greater world around you, but you're kind of disregarding it because you are trying to see the world as the way you want it to be. It's definitely a cognitive bias. Whether it is actually cognitive dissonance or not, I'm not quite sure, but it definitely falls in the realm of a cognitive bias. And I think there's this, there's bits of it in all walks of life at the moment. Let's look at the world for what it really is, and if there is problems there, it's only through doing it like that we're actually going to be able to solve any of the problems. And again, this can be applied on a personal level and a societal level. And I really dislike the word snowflake, because it's used in a kind of very derogatory manner, but we've got a class of people that's kind of emerged in the last 10 years. It's like a class of people that needs this constant stream of positive affirmation, otherwise they just completely almost go into these self-destructive spirals, and they're so desperate to be taken seriously, but they can never be taken seriously because they need this constant positive affirmations. And it's like, life's not like that. You need to take the good with the bad, and unfortunately these people just, I'm not sure whether they were kind of the cotton wool kids where they had the helicopter parents that never let them fail, but yeah, it's not conducive to producing leaders, in my opinion, and it's something that we really got to watch out for. Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's social media that's doing it, that makes people who just have this constant need for positive affirmations. So it's like... So another part that I found really good was his writings on pain, and when you are in pain, and again, this kind of ties into the social media thing, is that everybody is trying to give this curated version of their lives where it's like, if I'm not a movie star celebrity, it's no point posting about it. But like, there is no shame in externalizing the fact that you're in pain and you're hurting and you're not doing well. And you shouldn't, like, if it is that bad, let people know that it is that bad. There's not going to be any shame in it, and you'll probably find that might help you identify who your real friends are. Something else in here that I found really cool is the concept of maintaining a decent opinion of yourself. It's the only one that you can actually 100% change, right? And you're going to kick off a negative feedback loop of internalized shame if you're constantly berating yourself up here. Like, that's not a good way to live. And you'll find that if you are stuck like that, you'll start becoming a lot more insular, and you won't be going out much anymore, and you'll start pushing everybody in your life away. And it's just like, it can only go bad from there, and you get stuck in this downward spiral into oblivion. And I've been there, and that's what set me into addiction. And It doesn't take much of a shove to get there, but it's going to take you a fucking lot of work to pull yourself out of that kind of downward spiral, and I know from personal experience. Worrying about things, no matter how bad they actually are in your life, worrying about it isn't going to solve it, and generally it's only going to make the situation worse. And at the end of the day, are these worries worth destroying the here and now for? I mean, if you can solve them, but don't worry. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, the universe is this thing that's just in constant flux, right? If you try to, like, if you're latching onto things in your life really hard and not letting them go because you're terrified of loss, I think that's only really going to make the situation worse, because the universe itself, it can only exist in a constant state of change. Yeah, you're going to kind of set yourself up for nothing but disappointment if you try to just latch on and keep your life in one place as a static kind of thing. So like I said, Marcus speaks in Meditations quite a lot about kind of the ethics of life and how to apply that to both your personal life and to being a leader. And the one thing that really resonated with me, and again, a lot of this stuff is kind of reinforcing opinions I already had, but it's something that I've thought for a long time, in that you lead from the front, right? And don't expect others to follow rules that you mandate, but you don't follow yourself. And I think that there's a really big lesson for the politicians in the COVID age of, don't expect people to follow rules that you're not following yourself. I want to say it's someone like Simon Sinek or someone like that, and it's one of these kind of businessy mental health guru types. But they say good leaders eat last. And that's kind of what Marcus is saying in here, in the, the spoils don't go just to the king. If you want your men to follow, you share in the spoils. And I'm not like a socialist or anything like that, but we've kind of hit a point where we're kind of racing back towards feudalism almost, in that we're trapped in this kind of neoliberal pyramid scheme, and it gets called capitalism, but anytime we try to actually even change it in a small way, the people who are most benefiting from our system they freak out, and it's like, well, yeah, I understand why you're doing that, because you're a greedy asshole and you're pilfering all of the prosperity for the last 30 years, but that's like just how they've become adapted to it, right? They can't function in a world where they aren't stealing all of the prosperity for some reason. But yeah, don't expect other people to follow rules that you don't follow yourself. And I think that there's a lot of people in the world that really need to sit down and think about that statement in 2021. So guys, I'm going to wrap this up now with something that I found hilariously ironic, and that is that he says, don't worry excessively about things that you can't control. You're going to be dead soon, and no one is going to even remember that you existed. Which is hilarious, because this bloke has been dead for 2,000 years and he's speaking to us through his writings. All right, guys, I have to get going, and I hope you have a very good Christmas. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Go outside, get better, be awesome. See you next time, guys.